Greetings. So last night there was yet another interesting show on the Genesis 49ers channel, covering a variety of topics as shows on that channel typically do. And as it was a long show, and I often feel with the long shows on that channel that there are certain things which I find particularly interesting, which, at risk of getting lost or buried within the larger discussion. So now there were a few different sections from that show that I'm tempted to clip and share. But in this particular video, I wanted to share a brief portion in which the Orthodox Moor shared some intriguing thoughts on certain Israelites whom he calls Darbyites because he feels they are largely influenced by the late Stephen Darby, and thus, in a sense, they are doctrinally descended from Stephen Darby Ministries on a number of points at least. Now, the individuals that the Orthodox Moor had in mind have been called moderate Israelites or moderates by some, but Moor and Ivri argue in this clip that they may be more immoderate than some might realize. And in my opinion, the especially fascinating portion is what Moore had to say about that stream's changing approach to DNA after revelations about some of their paternal haplogroups. Now, at the very least, I found all this to be thought-provoking, and, a good portion of this was new to me and perhaps even revelatory. So I'm going to share a clip which runs for a little less than 7 minutes. And, of course, comments, questions, and even criticisms are welcome, in case anyone wants to offer an alternative understanding of the relevant history which Moore is about to share. I'll share a link to the fuller show in the video description. And since Moore is going to make a passing reference to a show he did on his own channel about Stephen Darby's views of Israelite haplogroups, I'll also share a link to that show as well. And as you can see on your screen, we're going to pick this up about 3 hours and 45 minutes into the video. So enjoy the clip, and God bless.
So she's on here talking about, she agrees with the concept that everyone that came off the slave ship is an Israelite. She's on Beren's show saying that day, right? That's on the video that played earlier on my channel, right? She's saying that everyone that came off the slave ship is an Israelite. It doesn't matter what your haplotype is. Okay, then you're saying it's just because you're black at that juncture, right? It's just because you're black. You're making the same case that the Taylor twins are making. It. You need to have Negro DNA, i.e. the Negro phenotype via alleles, how they said it specifically on their channel, sis. And if you don't, you're not an Israelite. Now she's gonna say, well, I'm not here saying I'm not knocking nobody. I'm not knocking nobody. You know what, sis? You and I both know you don't think that European Jews are Jews or Israelites. You and I both know we've had that conversation between you and I, sis. Now come out here and prove me a liar and tell me that you do. Come out here and prove me a liar and tell me you believe European Jews are DNA. I'll apologize right now. Or Europeans can be Israelites. I'll apologize. I'll apologize. But you don't believe that. And I've heard you say it. I've heard you say it. So stop with all the nonsense. You know what time it is. And you're making the same argument the twins are. You need to be Negro in order to be an Israelite.
And that right there is the reason why people got to stop calling them moderates, because they're not moderates. If anything, we're moderates, but they're not.
Yeah, exactly. They're they're just as extreme as the camps, man. Mm-hmm. You got the camps and you got the Darbyites, because all this is the remixed Darb. So again, she's going to take issue with us for having a haplogroup model along with an autosomal model, right?
Yeah.
But at the same point in time, she takes no issue with Benaiah Israel for having a haplogroup model, no issue for Ron Dalton for having a haplogroup model, no issue with Pastor Darby for saying that you got to be E1B1A.
Benaiah Ben Israel.
No. Yeah. I said that part, but I'm saying it goes back to Pastor Darby. He's the first one in there. So these are so you might not be familiar with Pastor Darby, right? Pastor Darby is the birth of these people here, right? So you're talking about Dante, Sister E, Teo, Benaiah, we woke now, but like that. We're talking Darby right now. We're talking Pastor Darby, right? So Pastor Darby, I don't know if you actually watched my video on the one I put out recently, where I'm pointing out the fact that she's trying to, they're trying to act like we're the only people in the world that talk about haplogroup, but the people on their side that are pushing the E1. So again, we don't say E1B1A is the Israelite haplogroup. We do not say that, but multiple of their people do.
Most of them, most people on their side say that. It's only Teo who disagrees.
And truth be told, the word on the street is like so when you understand Pastor Darby or whatnot, Pastor Darby was having them all believe that so Ibri, when you go study Pastor Darby, you can see where they get their arguments incorrect and how it all started from based upon how the information was introduced to them. Mm-hmm. So when they were told by Pastor Darby that about E1B1A, they were told by him that every African American male is E1B1A.
Oh,
100%. So when they were all out there this is why you have people like the Benais and them and all these guys showing you their autosomal test, but no one's showing you a haplogroup test because all of them were assuming that they all have E1B1A. Right. And they were all doing that until certain people found out, oh, wow, I'm haplogroup G. I'm haplogroup. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now we got the remix doctrine. You know what I'm saying? Now you just need to be a Negro or whatnot. You know, but now when it comes to DNA, you just need the autosomal DNA of the Negro or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And what's crazy about it, Ibri, so when Pastor Darby is again has an Irish last name, right? He shows his daughter's autosomal DNA, not his, and says she has my DNA, she has my haplotype, right? It's like, wow.
Wait,
no, that's not how. Right, exactly.
Unless that's
right. And so he's assuming so you just got to know everyone in this is E1B1A. Cool, got you, right? Again, like got people confused, male and female. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness.
But it's showing that she's 20% European, mostly British, Irish, or whatnot, right?
Uh-huh.
So they got this large chunk of European within them and whatnot, right? And that's the daughter. Like, how much does Pops have, right?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
That's how much his Pops have. On top of that, what's his haplogroup? Because he's that much European with the name Darby, fam. And it's every time we run into these blacks who are super racist and whatnot, we find out they got European haplogroups every time.
Yep, for some reason.
So the likelihood of your man being R1 is like up there. Is like up there, fam.
Does he have a son?
I have no idea, but he's passed or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's a. If he's done his DNA, he never showed what his haplotype was or what his haplogroup was. You know what I'm saying? But if you looked at it, you'd be like, oh, I'm looking at all kind of phenotypical stuff to where your admixture could prove otherwise, that you're not what you claim and how you got wrong, that all African Americans are E1B1A, right? Like what would Darby have done if he found out he was G or if he was R or if he was, you know what I'm saying? He would have to remix the doctrine just like they're doing, right?
Delete the video and say something.
Man. But see, here's the thing is when Darby passed or whatnot, they picked up the mantle, right? So all these people's channels, you can see them picking up when Darby passed or whatnot. Like Darby, like his joint is like he passed like 5-6 years ago, something like that. Did
they ever collab?
No, but some of their first videos are let me give an RIP to Darby and send an RIP to his wife type stuff. Like, so they're trying to clout chase off the YouTube videos. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Awesome.
But they're literally Darbyites, fam. I ain't calling them moderates anymore. Y'all are Darbyites, fam.
Yeah, they're not moderates.
No, not at all. There's nothing moderate about you. Y'all are racist. You're just as racist as the camps. There's nothing different.